On June 17, 2021, OSHA issued revised emergency temporary standards. What does this mean for California employers going forward? So as California reopens starting on June 15, 2021, we're getting a lot of questions from employers of what this looks like in the workplace. Now, just to back up a little bit, the workplace is governed by OSHA and the standards set by OSHA through the emergency temporary standards. OSHA first issued these ETSs, the ETS, in November of 2020, and employers were obligated to comply with those standards starting in November of 2020. Now, come June, as the state started reopening, OSHA has been adopting and revising the ETS to comply with some of the other standards that are set out by the state. So what's this mean for California employers? And there was some confusion at the beginning of June about what ETS were in place and everything. So finally, on June 17th, OSHA updated and issued revised ETS standards, and the governor signed an executive order making the revised ETS effective on the same date. On the following date, June 18th, OSHA came out with an FAQ explaining the ETS as well, and it's very informative. We'll have a link to those FAQs below for California employers to take a look at. So generally speaking, what are some of these revisions that took place here in June and that became effective June 17th for California employers? First, and primarily of importance for California employers, the ETS came out and said that employers may allow fully vaccinated employees not to wear face coverings indoors, but must document the employee's vaccination status. And I'll talk about how employers need to be documenting the vaccination status. So the ETS changed that face covering requirement. The ETS also said, effective June 17th, that there's no physical distancing or barrier requirements, regardless of employee vaccination status, with the following exceptions. The OSHA said employers must evaluate whether it's necessary to implement physical distancing and barriers during an outbreak, and an outbreak is defined as 3 or more cases in an exposed group of employees. And the other exception is when there is a major outbreak. Employers have to implement physical distancing protocols, distancing and barriers during a major outbreak, and that's when 20 or more cases in an exposed group of employees. There's some other revisions to the ETS that employers need to look at, and we've got an article setting these out too that we'll link below. But generally speaking, those are the major changes in the ETS. Now, what are employers' obligations to document an employee's vaccination status under the ETS? So the FAQs published by OSHA set forth that the ETS requires employers to document the vaccination status of employees, but it doesn't set forth how employers are supposed to document the status and what steps must be taken to document the employee's vaccination status. So the FAQs provided the following examples of acceptable options to document employees' vaccination status. First, the FAQ said that employees can provide a proof of vaccination, such as a vaccination card, image of vaccination card, or a healthcare document showing vaccination status, and the employer can maintain a copy of that. Second, the employee could provide proof of vaccination, and the employer maintains a record of the employees who presented the proof, but they don't keep a copy of the vaccination record itself. And third, employees can self-attest to vaccination status, and the employer maintains a record of who self-attests. So one of those three options are what the FAQ set forth for employers on how to document employee vaccination status in regards to the face mask requirements and some of the other requirements for employees in the workplace. So it's important for employers to review that and make sure that they're documenting the vaccination status appropriately. Now, the FAQs published by OSHA, there's some confusion in regards to documenting vaccination status from the employees. The FAQ said that the employees have a right to decline to state if they've been vaccinated or not, and if they decline to state if they've been vaccinated, the employer must treat them as unvaccinated. And the FAQs also set forth that the employer must treat the employees as unvaccinated and must not take any disciplinary or discriminatory action against the employee if they fail to state or refuse to state their vaccination status. But this creates some confusion for employers. The primary concern I have, and the primary confusion that I have in regard to that FAQ, is that the DFEH, the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, has come out and said that employers can require employees to get the vaccine, can mandate the vaccine. So if the DFEH allows mandatory vaccination, I don't see how the FAQs from OSHA comply with that requirement, the mandate for the vaccine. If the employer can mandate the vaccine, it seems logical that they could ask the employee to document that they had the vaccine as well. So there is some gray areas there, and employers need to approach that with caution until we get further clarification, hopefully from OSHA in that regard. To the extent you have any questions, we've got a link below to an article setting forth some of the other changes in the ETS, and feel free to reach out to us with any other questions as well. Thanks.